just remember like my dad having such issue with this. Like because growing up, my parents, we went out to eat all the time. Like
Mhm.
lit for like a big family,
Mhm.
they would take us to restaurants and my dad would get looks like, "Oh my God, how many kids do
Yeah.
you have?"
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it's very much like I mean, we've had people, I had to be clever sometimes, you know what I mean? Because you get, s- well, I don't know why it's old men that feel like they get to comment on, or older women, but it's lots of, oh, you have your hands full, or you know how that happens, right? Or
Now that's
um,
first of all, that's so rude.
it's so rude. There was one time, I do think I said something fairly snarky to somebody one time, and I think it had to do with, yeah, and my husband's really good at it or something.
Well,
Because you
I
just get like, it depends on what kind of mood you're in, but sometimes you get a little tired of it.
well,
But
yeah. I
that's
mean,
okay.
I guess it's the kind of person that I am, but like I would never think like people could look at us like, oh, he was an oopsie. Like
Mm,
nothing in my life is oopsie. You know what
right.
I mean? Like,
Hmm.
no, it was planned. In fact, talking about Tegan because of the age gap,
Yeah, totally.
I just remember when Murphy was in kindergarten, I'm like, you know what? I could do it again. I could do it one more time.
Totally.
But it took a
Absolutely.
long time to like actually have him. Anyway,
Yeah,
you're super organized.
I try to be, but yes, thank
I've
you.
been to your house.
You have been to my house. It's true. It's true. It doesn't always stay that organized, but
I
I
know.
definitely make a concentrated effort for organization. Yes,
So how do you put your how do and do you ever feel like you put yourself first?
I do. Yeah. Sometimes I think the beginning part of my relationship with Travis and then moving into parenting, there was a good 15, 20, maybe 15 years that I didn't at all. And I think that as a couple, we suffered a lot. We didn't know what we didn't know. And it was kind of this old ideology, or yeah, this old ideology of, I was a stay-at-home mom and I took care of the kids and I took care of the family, and he did his job and then would come home. And then while he is an excellent father and
Yes.
he is an excellent um, husband, he was not an excellent partner.
Right.
And so we had to go through a lot of, we did counseling and we did a lot of conversation and just a lot of communication adjustment to understanding, like, how do we really want to live this life for the next 40 years together? Because we do want to be together for the next 40
Right.
years. And the way that we were functioning wasn't working. And so a huge part of it was um, him stepping into responsibility and me actively stepping out of responsibility so that he could actively step into it.
Right.
Because I'm a very strong personality and I'm a very, I don't want to say controlling, but I have the ability to control things very well.
Right.
And so because of that, and he's just very, he's just so good at allowing me to do what I need to do, which is great for a person like me because it's like, oh, I can be in control of what I want. So when I think Pelotoning, running, stepping into some different kinds of um even just allowing myself a deeper friendships, especially like we're getting into like when we talk about Peloton, or when I started to really, really dive into that, those relationships really helped me to draw on what other people viewed as my strengths without having the history and the background of all of my mistakes. Do you know what I
Gee,
mean? Yeah, it
yes.
it was and it's not that they discounted those
Right.
mistakes as things that weren't a part of who I am or who I had been, or parts of my history or things that made me who I am. It was more that because they I know this sounds silly, but because they didn't have to go through them with me,
Right.
it's like they were allowing those things to be exactly what they were and not a mark on who I am as a person or who I was to them or who they could be for me. And leaning into those friendships and that way of wanting to be a friend has really, really given me some freedom in being okay flying to New York for 4 days and spending time with my friends instead of at home, or
Right.
choosing running, choosing to be okay with the fact that I need a hobby that takes me away from my family,
Right.
things like that. So yes, I would say it has been an evolution
Yeah.
probably over the last, I would say 8 years. Um, but as I've grown, for sure, I do really take some time for myself.
Awesome.
Yeah, I even tap out at night, like on the kid, like we'll be at the dining room table, which is same place as our schoolroom. And I'll tap on the table and be like, I'm done, everybody. And then,
Well, I remember, and it was actually in this house because I don't know, I used to watch Oprah and in my kitchen, I could see it through the kitchen. And I remember her, I forget who was on, but like this one woman was like, yeah, I come first, then my husband, and then my kids. And the audience was like, oh my God.
right.
But I never forgot that. And,
Yeah.
and my parents are still together, 50 years plus. And they're hilarious. And my dad's like, loved her. Just these are my parents. Like he just said it actually this weekend. I've loved her ever since I've seen her. Like when I
Yeah.
first laid eyes on her is when I fell in love. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you know, my mom never really put herself, you know, first.
Hmm.
So like when you know better, you do better. And
I do
so,
think, yeah, I think that's really fair to say. I do think that if we get stuck in under trying to believe, like, well, I always come first.
yeah.
I think that's not a partnership,
Yeah.
right?
No,
We
I mean,
have to, I am willing to put myself first in a way that I wasn't willing to put myself first
right.
a while ago.
And it's
Now,
hard. It's a
yes, it
hard
was
thing to do.
really hard.
Like,
There was a lot of worthiness issues. There was a lot of who does that make me as a mom? Who does
right,
that make me as a wife? Societal norms, things like that. And that even took therapy, right?
yeah,
It even took friendships and other people from the outside being able to speak into you and say, no, it's okay to do those things,
right.
you know?
Um, I was talking to Eileen about this and how she's like, how, like I said, how has sweat, changed you? And she's like, no, what I asked her about, like, how do you find your consistency? And she's like, I have to do it for like my number one thing is my mental, like my
Mm,
to get it out. And I completely, connect with that as well. Like, feeling strong and look and the physical effects, but like
yeah.
it's definitely my consistency, lies in the fact that I want to feel better and I immediately, feel better. And it's not like I
Yeah.
work out like a maniac, but the consistency is something that, I count on. And I'm also good at like, taking a week off just because my
Hmm.
schedule will get jam packed. And I don't feel like, when I was younger, it's like, um, I guess I can make the correlation when I was younger, like, working out for 3 days and then skipping a day and then it's 2 weeks. That doesn't happen to
Hmm.
me anymore because I have a different mindset. Like I'm doing it to
Yeah.
appear.
Yeah. And I think we learn as we get older that we have to live in the gray. We cannot live in black and white. It
Right.
cannot. There is no room for black and white if you want to consistently be able to pour into yourself. Sometimes you're just not going to be able to, and you have to live in that gray of, okay, well, I can get this 30-minute work in, this 30-minute workout in, but it's not the hour workout that I wanted, you
Right.
know, but
Right.
it's this 30 minutes and that's consistency. And I consider those the gray moments of life. And you have to learn how to live in those gray moments and feel that those are successes as well, and
Right.
not just, things that you didn't quite achieve, but that,
Right.
kind of a glass half full as opposed to half empty situation, right? Like, oh, they weren't as healthy as I needed them to be, but I didn't realize it until I started connecting with people who 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 were actively seeking the same things as me through working out.
Yeah.
We don't agree. A lot of the friends that I've met through Peloton, we don't have the same religious affiliation. We don't have the same political affiliation. We don't have the same race. We don't have the same background, the same family, the same marital relationships. But we connect with each other through this common goal of wanting to move and sweat and become better versions of ourselves just a little bit every day. And it was through those friendships and those relationships that I realized I was even able to let go of some of the harder relationships that I was holding on to here,
Yeah.
because it felt like I was really given a picture of what it could be like, what really good friendships could be like. And did they have to be right next to me? No.
Yeah.
Some of my most favorite people in the world now live in New York or live in Seattle or,
Right.
live in just so many different parts of the world. And it's phenomenal because I would not have met half of them without having this workout sweat connection. And it's pretty great.
Right.
Like,
Anything you want to do.
yeah, I do actually. And I'm working really hard towards a goal right now.
What is it? If you want to
I'm
tell me.
trying, no, I can tell you for sure. I'm actually trying to qualify for Boston.
Yes!
I
You
know.
beast!
I know. So, so
Amy!
I know, we'll see. But to see, okay, so in October, I ran a marathon and it went really well for me. It was my fifth marathon and I had had a really good training cycle. And now I have no worlds, like I have none of the world medals, none of them. I haven't done a single marathon really outside of Minnesota. And so I talked to Travis about it and I said, I really would like to try over the next 10 years to maybe get these worlds. And he was fully on board and fully supportive. And so I am working towards Boston. I'm trying. We'll see. So I've hired a trainer to actually help me get there.